All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Are we on the air? Now we're on the air. There we go. That's how it works. Nelson Stein here again with Fishing Planet. Again, probably one of the more boring channels on YouTube, but hey, oh, Fishing Planet's not exactly an adrenaline pumping, thrill seeking game. Um, at the moment, we're fishing at Rocky Lake again, one of my favorite places to come and make money. Best technique, I'll go straight off the bat and bring up this really useful technique. Um, Best thing to do, get your bait money, so like money you use for spending on bait at Lone Star, Texas, the starting map. And if you haven't already done it, I recommend you buy the unlimited um, license for that place because it's worth it. You know, it's free travel. It doesn't cost anything to pay to be there for a day. It's easy money. It's easy money. Yeah, and then when you're a high enough level as well, you know you've got the baits you want. You can come to places like this and you can catch a healthy amount of fish. Right now, we're not getting a lot of action, so I'm going to move it slightly closer. So yeah, this is Rocky Lake. Um, Obviously, there are better times of the day where you can catch bigger fish, but it's really dependent on the baits that you use, more so. I mean, I've been fishing here since the bog standard 5 a.m. start time. Um, Played through, yeah, 7.5 in-game hours this morning, and so far we're sitting at 54 pounds of fish, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I've caught some pretty half decent fish in there. The best one being a nearly 2 pound trophy Colorado golden trout, worth $200. Again, doesn't sound like a lot, but think about it: 2 pounds, $200. You know, you catch 10 of them or similar fish to that. You know, that's 2 grand, and you've only used 10 bait, and you get 25 obviously for the amount you pay for it, whether it's 300 or 500. I think it's 300 for the artificial eggs and 500 for the natural eggs. We're using natural at the moment because there is a difference between the two eggs in which fish are more interested in the others. So this tends to be the general rule. Artificial eggs here at Rocky Lake are definitely the preference of cutthroat trout and more smaller trout for sure. Um, the cutthroats, there's nothing wrong with catching cutthroats. You know, they're worth a good amount of money. Um, but if you want to start earning proper money, it's these you need to start targeting. Funnily enough, just caught one. This is what. So yeah, artificial eggs. You're looking at cutthroats. You will catch rainbows. You will catch Colorado golden, but you are going to predominantly catch um, cutthroat trouts. That can get a little boring after a while, but if you want to have a little bit of action, then I suggest the natural eggs because, as you've just seen, I'm catching rainbow trout. I'm catching, and as I've said before, I'm catching decent golden trout on them as well. So golden trout and rainbow both prefer natural eggs to artificial, but if you're after cutthroats, then I'd recommend artificial. You can lose. You can use lures as well. There's some really good spots that I might try out in a bit, but right now I'll start dicking around once I get my money back. You know, that's kind of like my main preference when I come here for a day. You know, make back my money, then I can try to catch some personal best, maybe do a little bit of trophy hunting. But the goal here is to just catch as many fish as possible, make some money, get some XP, and this is the number one spot for me to do so. Just in front, just next to this log. It could be in front of the log, next to it, behind it. Basically, when you cast on this side of the map, this is as you'll notice at the menu. There's only the two places you can go. You go to the place on the right. It's not exactly a big place. It's just this little cove here, which I will show you. See, I'll just show you when I've got this fish in my hand. So there's only this little bit here, and then there's that bit way over there. You want to come to this side. Um, Obviously, you can't really miss this log over here in this little cove. Now, because of the current equipment I'm using, I can only cast out like I would be lucky to make it to those fish that just jumped. But I've noticed that the sweet spot for here, make sure your leader's at 50 inches. That's quite important for catching a variety of decent fish, not just normal ones. Anywhere from about here at 60 feet to way out there to about 85, 88, sometimes even 90 feet. This whole swim, this whole little cove is just filled with fish. Whether it's off peak or peak times and the weather, it really doesn't matter. All of the best fish I have caught here in Rocky Lake has come from this spot. I would go as far as say 98% of all the fish I've caught here at Rocky Lake has been in this little cove. Because I do go looking for the white bass. Occasionally I've caught white bass here in this cove, but mainly it's on the other side. I'm trying to think if there's anything really else I've caught here that's significant. Nothing comes to mind, but there is a really good swim over there next to some weeds. But this spot over here by the log really is the sweet spot. Looks like we've got a golden trout on the line. Yep, there he is. Nice little golden, 88 bucks. It's not bad. So yeah, I'll show you what I've been doing. So see, artificial salmon eggs. Look at all the cutthroat trouts caught on that. Crickets work as well. I was just using the last of my crickets to free up some space. But yeah, look at this, you know, and then straight away, natural eggs. We are into rainbow trout territory, and they will take artificial. But yep, see, Colorado's natural. Some crickets again. Crickets do work, so if you're working on a slightly tighter budget than eggs, crickets do work if you're a lower level. Couple of lucky ones on artificials, but again we go back to natural. There's the biggest cutthroat I'm pretty sure I've caught today, and some natural egg rainbow trout here at the top scale of the fish I've caught. But this is the sort of thing I was targeting earlier, the trophy Colorado Golding. That's a personal best. There's probably a lot bigger ones out there that people have caught, but 2 pounds is nearly half a pound bigger than the last trophy Colorado golden trout I caught. So I'm exceedingly happy with that fish. And as you can see, I've only filled, we'll say just over a third of my net. I've got a shit ton of bait left, and I've already made back, almost completely made back the money which I spent. Actually, yeah, I have made back the money I spent coming here, but if I'm going to include bait costs, I'm still down by about $300. But at this rate, it's only about two decent sized fish, or 6 small young ones. And I've still got bait for days. I've got 77 natural eggs. I'm pretty sure I have I still have 54 artificial salmon eggs. So yeah, we've been using natural since I've started streaming, so we're just going to switch to artificial now, just to show you. I might end up shooting myself in the foot here and proving my theory wrong, but there is a very high chance that the first fish I'm going to catch on these is going to be a cutthroat, which I haven't had on a natural egg for, well, since the morning of the game. Since it turned afternoon, I've not had a single cutthroat. I don't think, but I've had plenty rainbows, and 1 or 2 goldens, which is really nice. And of course, catching the trophy has definitely been the highlight of my fishing day so far. So I'm looking for about $5,000 to break even for bait costs. And anything above that is just additional profit to help with gear, because obviously if by spending so much time here I'm going to accumulate damage on my equipment, and keep nets are quite expensive to repair. Even if they sustain like 9 damage to their durability, it can cost up to $1,000 to repair, and $1,000 a grand is a decent amount of time fishing, depending what you're catching. If you're a lower level, um, that is a really pain. It's a big pain in the ass. If you go and you say, "Oh, I only need $600," you go and you catch $600 worth of fish, say in Texas, um, and then you leave, and then you find out that your keep net needs repairing, and of course you can choose to do it, or it niggles away at me if I just leave it there, because I know it'll be even more expensive when I go back to repair. I go to repair it and it says $800, and it was completely fine when you set off, so you end up making a loss. So you've really got to put in a decent shift if you want to make a decent profit. It doesn't happen every time, but you never know when the keep net is wearing away. I mean, you can keep checking it, but I'm definitely not one of the people who are continuously checking, to see if it's wearing, tearing. Obviously, you can see if your main equipment is, your rod, your reel. And just seeing that, my rod's at 91%, so when I leave, I'm going to have at least $300 worth of damage to repair. So straight off the bat, whilst I've been talking nonsense, I have been using artificial salmon eggs, and so far we have absolutely nothing. This is because cutthroat trout, from my experience, much prefer morning and late afternoon time. Middle of the day is definitely trout time. And yeah, we're not even having a knock here. I'm trying to put it in the better positions than I know of. But yeah, the artificial eggs starting to struggle. Oh, we're getting a knock. That's usually a good sign. The reason why I'm only using a size 1 hook is because, as I said, I'm not trophy hunting. I am just looking to catch fish. So catching small ones aren't a problem for me, because in my book 2 of them will earn me $100, and that's still profitable by the bait cost. And quite surprising that we've actually caught a rainbow trout. But this is when it gets interesting. It's a smaller rainbow trout. As I was saying when I was looking through my keep net, I was really shocked when I caught a couple of half decent rainbow trout on the artificial salmon eggs. So my theory right now, currently being shat on, but trust me, far more cutthroat prefer artificial to natural, and far more rainbow trout and Colorados prefer natural to artificial, and all of them love crickets, from my experience. So crickets definitely work. I'm not going to be using crickets because, as I said earlier, I've used up my crickets because, well, I only had like 7 or 8, and yeah, I didn't see a point in keeping them because they're not really an important bait anymore. I mean, they can be useful depending if you're trophy hunting for maybe a smaller type of fish, but I'm at the point where I'm looking for lots of XP, lots of weight, lots of money. So I'm getting to the point now where minnows and shiners are definitely the most important bait I'm using in the bigger lakes. Some of the bigger lures as well, I think the biggest lure I've caught a fish on is 1.5 ounces, which sounds really small, but when you consider that the number 1 spinner, which has caught me thousands of spotted bass at Texas, is only 1/2 ounce, we're talking 3 times bigger than that. So something which is geared towards big fish is really good. And plus, people will already know, if you play the game, the 1/4 ounce narrow spoons are fish magnets, especially in here, to be honest. Using something that small is actually perfect for the trout. So yeah, we're still kind of waiting. It's business very slow now since we've put on the artificial eggs. I'm tempted to put on natural just so I'm not boring myself, let alone whoever's going to watch this video. But we are getting attention. That's twice now I've kind of jinxed it. Maybe I should say that more often. And then he's going to fuck off because I brought it up. I should just keep my mouth shut. He'll take it. It's the advantage, I'm sure I've said already, to using a small hook, that we're not rejecting even any of the smaller fish. It does now, unfortunately, it does of course decrease our chances of only catching big fish. But to be honest, if you're well kitted out, you've got a lot of money, you don't need to worry about bait, because you can buy bait here. It's fine. Catching small ones isn't a problem. I mean, if you're really impatient, then well, first of all, if you're really impatient, Fishing Planet's not really for you. This game requires a lot of patience, just like real fishing. It is definitely the closest thing to a simulator you will get. It's certainly the most realistic fishing experience I've had on a game. Obviously, there's things, but it's a game. It's not exactly going to be VR standard, and the fish aren't all going to have different capabilities. But the current takes an effect. Some with the runs. There's definitely some fish which are more annoying than others, despite maybe being smaller. This game is great. I love Fishing Planet. This is the most relaxing game ever, and the reason why it's relaxing is because it's not easy. It's not just a game where, oh yeah, I'm pulling out a fish, oh there's another one. You really don't know what you're going to pull out. You can gear towards what you want. You can set your gear, you can find the hot spots, and you can try, but you don't know if you're going to pull out a baby one, if you're going to pull out a massive one, or if you're going to pull out something completely different, or unique, which in the fishing community is always a big deal, catching a unique fish. And apart from the historic fish of when they did the historic thing for independence in the United States, even though apart from that, I've actually never caught a unique fish. I've caught quite a few trophies in my time, but I've never caught a unique fish, and that always eats away at me. I caught another rainbow trout. I'm starting to wonder where the cutthroat have gone. Even though I say this isn't really a time where they feed, you'd expect to at least see them on their preferred bait. Even the small ones. But the rainbow trouts definitely seem to be the ones swimming about right now, and I'm very tempted to go back onto natural eggs, go back onto artificial once the evening time hits, and then once it turns into night time, this is very important. At night time here in Rocky Lake, definitely use natural eggs, because I thought I just had a miraculous day of fishing once, until I tried it 3 times in a row and I was equally successful each time. If you use natural eggs after 9 p.m, and obviously the biting rate is really good, you will catch back-to-back big, or even better, trophy rainbow trout in here with natural eggs, and only on the size 1 hook. And even though I might make a shit ton of money before then, if you've had a bad day and there's good fishing at night, I assure you, all money that you thought you were missing out on, you will claim in the evening. If I make a good amount, that's what I might do. In my experiment, I might just skip to the evening. Another small fish, another rainbow trout, so that tells me I'm going to be using natural eggs. I'm not wasting my artificial ones on rainbow trout. They are definitely more geared towards cutthroats, even though I'm really sick of cutthroats. But that's not so much to do with Rocky Lake, that's to do with a whole other experience I had at Falcon Lake once, where I was fishing for huge rainbow trout, and I was trying to catch my first ever brown trout, and cutthroats kept taking the bait. I ended up losing quite a lot of money, and I didn't prepare enough bait to go after brown trout. So that was quite a distressing experience. I've actually had not many amazing experiences when it comes to Falcon Lake. So far it's probably my least favourite place to go. Apart from Mudwater River, there's some fun in Mudwater, and oh, look at that! I switched to natural and I catch a cutthroat. Everything's back to front today. Honestly, that's absolutely ridiculous that it's back to front. But yeah, there we go. Cutthroat trout, woo. Demon that plagues my life. They are quite annoying. I just can't deny that. Cutthroat trout are really annoying. They're like yellow perch in Emerald Lake. Unless you catch a trophy, you're just not that interested, are you? Um, I'd rather be catching white bass at this point, but as I've said, I'm not fishing in the right spot for that. Approaching 2 o'clock in-game hours. This is getting significant because I believe I'm reaching peak time on this particular day that I'm fishing for the bites. Um, I think I've already seen something playing with the lure. Yep, there's something already there. And strike. Oh, this could be another decent rainbow. If you're wondering why this is looks very easy for me to catch these 3 pound trout, if you're kind of new to the game, well, that one's not 3 pound, but it's 1.7. But either way, if you're wondering why it seems easy, it's because the gear I'm using is geared for significantly bigger fish. I'm not exactly a mad expert, and I don't usually pay to play, as I've explained in a previous video. I got the net as a gift when I got some bait coins once from my girlfriend. But apart from that, I don't really spend I don't spend real money on the game. Everything's grafted, and the current gear I'm using is geared towards 20-pound line and a rod that can take up to 22-pound line. So this is the correct equipment to use if I'm going to go to places like St. Croix once I reach level 30. It's still it's going to be really fun for me to go to White Moose Lake. That's actually a really fun place. I'll probably do a video on there some other time. I'll just give you a little hint about that. If you're thinking about going to White Moose Lake, don't go for the trout. Maybe go for one or two if you want to, just get them on there, get them on your fish records, see if you can catch a trophy or unique. But they are insanely difficult at the start of the fight because they run like hell. Doesn't matter how much resistance you put on it, they just take off for about 100 feet or so, and then you slowly start to bring them back. If you want to make money in Moose Lake, though, you go for the northern pike. The small ones are about 3 or 4 pound, and the biggest I caught was a 10-pound trophy northern pike, which was a lot of fun to catch. It was just a lot of fun. There's another golden trout caught on natural eggs. So we're starting to slow down a bit, which, like I said, shouldn't really happen because we are reaching peak time. So I'm getting a little frustrated that since I started the video, everything's gone backwards. I'm not one that believes in jinxes, but don't you think things like this happen way too often when you say things? It makes you wonder if there is some logic behind it or whatever it is, because they were definitely biting more frequently since before I made the video. I mean, I've been now broadcasting 2 in-game hours almost, and I've only caught what, 10 pound, 9 pounds worth of fish. Maybe not even that. I think maybe 7. Yeah, it's getting a little annoying, but I'm still just thinking about the costs, really. I'm thinking about budget and the amount of bait I've got that I already had sitting. I only topped it up by like 25 each. And there's another Colorado golden trout. So those golden trout right there is nearly $200. And that's only 2 of the 25 bait that you buy for like $300, $500. So the profit margins are really good here for eggs. And if you need the spot, well, this is the spot for sure. This is definitely the spot. If you run out of bait because you're maybe on a tight budget, but you're still looking to make a profit from this place because you're stubborn, then I seriously recommend this spot off to the right. I'm just going to put some slack so I can twist and point. So this spot here ahead. If you cast in there with a narrow spoon, you will probably have a very good chance of catching a Colorado golden, and also quite a few healthy sized cutthroats. So we'll just reel it back in, wait for the bite, and there we go. even with all that slack. Doesn't look like a Colorado. It is a Colorado, actually. No, it isn't. It's a rainbow. So things starting to return back to the norm now. The right fish are taking the right bait. But as I said, technically all three fish like both baits. It's just I've noticed there is a preference between them. Cutthroats prefer artificial, and rainbow trout sorry, and golden trout prefer natural. But that doesn't mean, just stick to one or the other. It's nice to have the balance of both, because clearly they change their mind now and again. But if you're going particularly after the golden ones, which I'll admit, out of all the trout, are definitely the best looking trout in the game. There are some nice ones, but I think the Colorado one is just so cute. I think it's really nice fish. The brown trout is kind of nice, but they've made it kind of freakishly weird looking in the game compared to what they usually look like. Actually, I take that back. I think maybe the tiger trout is my favorite, but I can't fish for them yet because they are in St. Croix, which I cannot wait to fish. Once I turn level 30, I cannot wait to go to St. Croix. There's so much new stuff for me to catch there. I'm a strong lover of variety, and I love getting personal bests. I mean, it gets, like, as I said, I will earn back my money, and then I will go. Sorry, my controller died. Yeah, I will go for the more special fish once I've made my money back. But in some of these places, I need the biggest net in the game to actually turn a profit. And this one's given me a good old kick there. So this definitely over £1.50, which is good. Well, actually, now I don't know, because now it's not really fighting at all. Ah, there it is. £2 rainbow trout. Nice fish. $150. Nice. So, extra £10, and now we're up to $5,200. We are now rolling in money. We've caught 62 fish, all of them trout. So when you weigh up the bait costs, you've sunk in. So we'll say for 50 bait, another 25. So we'll say I've used 25 artificial eggs, and you buy 2 sets of natural eggs. Currently sitting at 62. Okay, so say you've just bought the baits before you came. You've used 62, so that leaves you with 13. Okay, so you've spent 1,300. Okay, 900 on an advanced license, that takes you up to 2,200, and then the 2,800 to travel, which takes you up to $5,000. So you've already made a slight profit of about $100, and that sounds pathetic, but if you're a lower level and you haven't been stocking, then if you have any level ups from doing this, you get 1,500, I think it is, for each level up you get. So God knows what your profit would be at this point. But with that 13 left, you can expand on that. Probably buy more bait. I believe you can buy some bait here. Let's have a look. Yep, you can buy artificial salmon eggs for $4.50, and as you've seen, you can turn a profit. If you've got that $4.50 sitting, you can spend it and you can increase your profit margin, because natural eggs and artificial eggs seriously are the way to go here. I will try to make another video on another lake soon. I hope it's going to be St. Croix, but by looking at my level bar, the amount of I've caught 62 trout, and my bar's only gone up by like 1/10. Not even that. It's barely moved at all. So, I'll make another one of a bigger lake. Actually, you know, I was gonna go to a better lake anyway today. Once I turn my profit here, I think I'm gonna fish here for maybe another hour or so, like real life time. Really stack up some money, and I think, yeah, before I head out later, I may make another video based on a more expensive lake. If not, then I will do it tonight. But I might not be very talkative. It might be just more showing you some spots that I found, because right now I've got a good place in mind. I'm very tempted to go back to the Everglades, catch some peacock bass, some gaff top sail catfish, some Florida gar. I've only ever caught one Florida gar, but they're quite easy to catch compared to the long nose. And gaff top sails are really, really simple fish to catch. I mean, I'll just go over this with you briefly before I end the video. Let's go through some of my fish records. I know people will have more impressive ones than me, but I am proud of this fish. I caught this fish with 15-pound gear, 15-pound line, 15-pound rod. It took me about 15 real-life minutes as well to reel it in. This thing was hell. It nearly tore the muscles in my fingers, you know, from the amount of pressure I was putting on it. This thing was hell to catch, but when I seen it was a trophy blue catfish, oh, I just screamed with joy. I was so happy. This is the White Moose Lake trophy pike I was talking about. That was a nice fish. That's worth nearly $1,000 as well, as was that blue catfish as well. I believe that was over $1,000 in value. These are some of the trout from White Moose that are an issue. There's the long nose. Yeah, here they are. The Everglades trophy gaff topsail fish catfish. Now, I cannot remember what size of hook I used for this. I believe I only used hashtag 2-0. And yes, the -0 is important. It's a bigger hook than the hashtag 2. I caught a couple and they were nice, and on the same hook I then brought in this little beauty. The spot where you catch these in the Everglades is so easy to get to. You literally cast 30 or 40 feet off of a pier, and voila, you get access to these gaff topsail fish, which are so cool looking. Not exactly the most expensive fish to reel in, but it's cool for variety, as I said, you know, if you're just looking for something new. Do I have... Yep, I've got this, the Everglades Florida gar. Same thing, same spot where I caught the gaff topsail fish. But I reckon if I stick on a hashtag 5-0 hook, I think I could easily catch a trophy version of these if the lake has them. Trying to think if there's anything... if there's really anything else to mention, really, about what I plan to do. This is the money maker. This is what you go to the Everglades to catch. This is what you want to stock on if you want some of that money back, because it does, including your advanced license, it costs $12,000 to go to the Everglades. It's not a cheap place to go. None of them are. The later on you get in the game. This game really is a graft. It really is. But if you want a nice little technique, if you're not the type who likes to play this every day, but you like to play it once in a while, I recommend you come on here just for 5 seconds a day. I'm not even making this up, right? If you're busy, you've got college, you've got work, all you do, turn on the console, come on here, right? Collect your daily login bonus and leave. Because if you keep doing that, because if you miss one day, then it resets, go back to day one. If you do it 6 days, like one day you get 300, then it's 450, then it's 500, I think, then it's 750, then it's 1,000, and then I think it's 1,500, and then on the 7th day, I'm not sure if I've done 8 or not, but all I know is that the 7th day you get $2,000. So you can make nearly 500. You can nearly make 5 grand just from the daily login bonuses each week. I know that sounds like a long time, and life's quite short when you think about it like that. But I mean, if you are committed and you know yourself, you'll play this at least once a week. Just keep getting the daily logins, and if you want easy money, then go to Texas. Lone Star. I've got plenty of videos of me in Texas at Lone Star catching smallmouth buffalo, but more importantly, the money-making spotted bass. I've also made videos on how to make money in the Everglades, in Emerald Lake, and of course today I have now done Rocky Lake. So this is how you catch fish at Rocky Lake. Small hook. You could use a big one if you want to catch the bigger fish, but a small one if you want guaranteed money. Natural eggs, crickets, artificial eggs, a couple of lures. Yeah, there's 2 good spots, but this side is definitely the better one. Thank you for watching this video. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully tonight I will get to show you one of the more impressive lakes and we'll catch some bigger fish. Ciao for now.